Hey everyone, it's Bennett Forrest, your fantasy football commissioner, with the Week 8 ForrestLand MishMash fantasy football recap for the 2014 season. We are actually past the halfway point, and things are starting to take shape in the different divisions. And first of all, I do want to apologize. I made a commitment this year to not miss a week of updates. I did miss last week. I want to assure everybody that it has nothing to do with the fact that the real Slim Aussies are totally shitting the bed this year. That is the truth. However, I just was really busy last week. And of course, now it's already Thursday, and I'm just getting to the Week 8. So just been really busy, but it's not because my team sucks. I am still committed to it. As you all know, you got to take the good with the bad with fantasy. So we're going to skip over Week 7 because that's ancient history. Let's take a look at Week 8. We had the two division winners squaring off in a real barn burner. There was a lot of high scoring. Before I get to that, you can see a lot of high scores. We had, 1, 2, 3, 4 teams scoring in the high 180s, almost 200, and then we have two over 200. So a lot of points. Unfortunately, the Slim Aussies aren't one of those teams scoring points. However, again, as neither here nor there in regards to this other game. So let's talk about this game, the Stallions in the Kicking Academy. Let's check this out. So obviously we have a lot of points to talk about here. Ray Finkel, of course, Ben Roethlisberger had the career day. Check this out if you haven't already. 522 yards, which was like the fourth most all-time. 6 touchdowns, including the one that was like 4th and inches, just trying to put the game away, and instead of doing a QB sneak or something, they throw a touchdown. So Ray Finkel's, to go 8-0, you got to have a little bit of luck, and that just shows, the kind of season that Ray Finkel's having. Also, you have Mark Ingram, I believe, in with some people on a bye. Rashad Jennings, well, he's still hurt on a bye. So really, it was just a game-time decision to start Mark Ingram over Alfred Morris, and it turned out to be the good decision. And I'm a little surprised. I didn't realize Ingram had been doing well this year. Yeah, I mean, kudos to Ray Finkel for starting Mark Ingram. Hadn't had more than, hadn't broken 100 yards. Did have 3 touchdowns earlier in the year, but apparently, I guess, was hurt. And coming off a 10 attempt, 16-yard performance, to put him in over Alfred Morris has got to be a really good, smart move, or just maybe lucky, but either way, really good there. T.Y. Hilton's been a stud all year. I mean, just look at his stats. I mean, he's had 1, 2, 3, 400-yard games. He's only had a couple touchdowns, but those touchdowns will come when a receiver gets this many catches. So tons of points there. Randall Cobb's awesome, and just tons of points overall, led by 52 for Ben Roethlisberger. That'll probably be the high score for the year of an individual player, 52 points. The Stallions, again, tough luck losers, nothing to be ashamed about with, quarterbacks scoring points every week. Drew Brees had an amazing game Sunday night. Golden Tate, I have to say, I did not think he was going to be a good receiver, and even with Calvin Johnson in, he's been good. I mean, he's been consistent all year. He's had 400-yard games. So even when Calvin Johnson was in, he was scoring points. So great draft by Golden Tate. And only 5 points. I guess that's got to be the bummer of the week from Jordy Nelson. I mean, he's been the man this year. He's had a 200-yard game. He's had touchdowns in almost every game. And he gets the big 3 catches for 25 yards. That ultimately has got to be the difference. Easily could have gotten, well, he still would have needed 30 points from Jordy Nelson. Sammy Watkins, I know, had a big catch, so lots of points there, just not enough to defeat Ray Finkel, who goes 8-0, the only unbeaten team in the league. Let's go in order of points. We have the Calvinators, who are hanging tough. They've had, early in this year, didn't look like they were going to be getting much points. Obviously, Andrew Luck has been amazing, along with Arian Foster. Arian Foster's just had a really, really good year. I mean, basically where he was a couple years ago. In almost every game he's played, as you can see, he's got 100 yards, well into 100 yards in a couple, tons of touchdowns. So he's back to being a top back as he was a couple years ago. So 201 points. Also, Emmanuel Sanders had his breakout game. If you remember Thursday night, he had 3 touchdowns, and just all around lots of scoring for the Calvinators. Sister-in-law Sarah of Graceland, respectable 157 points, just not enough, when someone scores 200 points against you. Not much on the bench other than Brandon LaFell, but you really can't complain about 157, even scoring all the way around. You'd like to get more from LaShawn McCoy, who's obviously been a big disappointment this year. But the Calvinators get the win, and they go creeping towards 500 at 3-4-1. Graceland falls to 2-6. We also have the Third and Oolong going to 5-3. They've quietly put together a good season, defeating again the tough luck and low-scoring Slim Aussies. I'm not going to pretend to say that it's just been all bad luck. I've had a couple games of bad luck, but really it's just been not a lot of scoring for my team. Joik Bell with 7 for the Lions. Percy Harvin's been a bust. And just not much there. My quarterbacks especially, it looks good for garbage time, but Jay Cutler and Matt Ryan just aren't getting it done behind their offensive lines. Meanwhile, Third and Oolong with Aaron Rodgers, even in spite of the injury, had 28 fantasy points. Antonio Brown had a monster day, along with Ben Roethlisberger's 6 touchdowns. He had at least 2 of them. 10 catches. You'll take that every week from your receivers. Also, Gronk was amazing as well. I think he had at least 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns, almost 150 yards. So between Gronk, Rodgers, and Antonio Brown, really just kicking butt. Didn't even need DeMarco Murray and his 25 points Monday night. So Third and Oolong, again, quietly putting together a good season. They're 5-3 with a 3-game win streak, and the Aussies going in the other direction, 2-6. Losers of 3 straight. Here, come on the screen. Okay, we have 2 other games to talk about. This one none of them were too close, but you have the competing fiancés, Temi and Chioma, fighting it out, and Temi gets the win this time, 168 points. Jeremy Maclin had a monster day. Joe Flacco's had an amazing season, but not much today. Still, with Maclin, Jamal Charles, who's starting to really come into his own, and Ahmad Bradshaw has been a really nice pick. The Travelers get a nice, solid 168 points to take the game. Chioms had a respectable day. Nothing special, but obviously Michael Floyd getting shut out doesn't help. And really just not terrible, but just nothing special either. And just not enough points to get the win. So Chioms still over 500 at 4-3-1, and the Travelers are 4-4 with a 2-game winning streak. The final game to talk about is the Catonsville Cartel going down to Baltimore, or B-more BPE. Scoot Meyer, after going, I think, 1-4, is now on 2 out of 3 to go to 3-5. So climbing back into respectability. They get 169 points. The Up and Down Cartel only with 130. Obviously, Tony Romo getting hurt doesn't help. And just, Vincent Jackson and Eddie Royal have been very up and down. If you look at Eddie Royal, he's had, one great game. He's had some touchdowns, but he's been sort of mediocre in other games. Demaryius Thomas with only 19 points. Alshon Jeffrey, of course, disappointing, mainly because Cutler's been so bad. And then, like I mentioned, Tony Romo's injury. So only 130 points for the Cartel. They fall to 4-4. B-more BPE trying to get to 500. They win. Obviously, Tom Brady with tons of points there. He's, ever since that Kansas City game, he's just been a monster. One thing I noticed in the late game is Larry Fitzgerald is having a really good season. Carson Palmer is, he was without Carson Palmer but for most of the season. But now that Palmer's back, I think Fitzgerald's really going to be on the upswing. And this looks like the Fitzgerald of old with 7 catches for 160 yards. So that could be good going forward if he keeps that up. Reggie Bush, I don't even think Reggie Bush played. He gets 0, but obviously a win's a win, and B-more BPE, in spite of Reggie Bush with 0, still gets 169 points. So let's take a look at the standings, and look at the Mish division. We have 3 teams at 500, 4-4. The Stallions have definitely been the tough luck loser. You can see they've got the second most points in the league. Not the highest points against, really, but just sort of I've observed some bad luck game for the Stallions. One of the Slim Ozzy's few wins was against the Stallions. Was a really close game. So really tight in the Mish division. Again, at least one team from the Mish division will make the playoffs, and then the second and third the 2 wildcard teams are going to be the best teams, second place or third place teams, irrespective of division. So a lot to play for, because again, there's only obviously Ray Finkel's Kicking Academy well on their way to the division. Still have a ways to go, but they're looking really good. Third and Oolong, again, hanging tough. Chioms and the Calvinators, really, no one's truly out of it, I think, except probably the Slim Aussies and Graceland. Probably the only 2 teams that are just out of it at this point. But look at the points for Be More BP, only 1,000 points, but yet it's got 3 wins and is in the playoff chase. So maybe a little bit of good luck for Be More BPE in spite of the 3-5 record. Could be much worse. So that's it. Let's take a look at the playoff bracket. Now that we're in the back half of the season, it's not too early to check it out. So if the season ended today, you'd have the Somerset Stallions getting the tiebreak in the Mish division based on points. As you can see here, they have the most points, so they would win the tiebreaker. And then, of course, the Kicking Academy winning their division. And then you have the other 2 playoff teams, like I mentioned, are both from the MASH division, if the season ended today, which of course it doesn't. We still have 6 weeks left of the regular season. Lots of bye teams this week, so I know it's going to be tough. There may be some low scores this week, but overall, still a lot of fantasy football to be played. As always, please, for those of you who haven't paid, please go to the Tilt application and do your pay your league dues. And good luck to everyone. Don't forget to put your starters in Thursday night and watch out for those buys. Thanks for watching.